In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a survey using Google Forms. I, in general, don't recommend using SurveyMonkey, which is usually the site that a lot of people have heard of, because they will stop you at a sample of 100. They'll continue to collect your data, but they'll make you get a paid account in order to see the rest of your results. Whereas Google Forms is free. I think it's really user-friendly and it looks pretty good. So in order to get to this, I would just Google Forms. If you have Chrome, you can just type this right up in here. But this is going to get you to google.com/forms. And then go to Google Forms will get you to the survey creation. So if you want to make a new survey, which is what you're going to do for this class, you'll hit this blank plus sign. But they have a variety of others that are already set up. So, if you wanted to use any of these that are similar to what you want to make your survey for, you can just kind of edit the ones that they already have. So click the plus sign to start a new form. I'm going to do my sample survey on whether or not playing violent video games, people that play violent video games have a higher average anxiety level. So I'm going to call this form statistics survey, and I'm going to leave it general because I don't want the people that are taking the survey to know what what I'm doing this for, because if they know the content or what you're going to do in the analysis, they may be a little sensitive to it, especially, people in general that play video games, which I do, in general don't like to, be stereotyped or classified, and neither does anyone else in general. So I would just leave this as completely blank, or, maybe put your name up here. I probably wouldn't do that because, depending on where you share this, it may be people that you don't know. So this is the title of the survey. This is the form description, which you don't need to have one. So my first question is going to be, so do you play violent video games? And so my option 1, I want to be, maybe let's do a yes frequently. And then we'll do a yes occasionally. And then no, never. So I always recommend that if you ask for more information on your survey than you may intend to use, but you can always compile these and put these two together. But if you didn't ask these two questions separately, you won't know or have the ability to know whether they play video games a lot or less frequently in the project. And as a matter of fact, sometimes I find that people maybe later on say, hey, I collected this like this, and I actually would rather know whether or not there's a difference between the frequent video game players versus this one, or versus these 3. You can compare to each other. So always ask for more than you need. You can put things together, but you can't get more information once the survey has been submitted. Now, the other thing that you may not think of is, what is a violent video game? So I would maybe put, and I know this might seem self-explanatory to some people, I would say a violence, so this is I Googled define violent video games. So I would say a violent video game is a game in which the range of options, ... So I would actually say this whole thing. Let's just copy and paste this. Which the range... So it keeps the font the same, which is nice. Not all programs will do that. So this way there's no doubt. Everybody was clearly given what this definition is. Honestly, most people probably won't read this as the truth. And you can change, if you want this to be, instead of multiple choice, drop boxes, you can have it be all sorts of things. Short answer, that's usually a lot more difficult to analyze. So I recommend just having the questions be phrased like this. So if you hit the plus sign, it's going to add a new question down here. So I would say, let's see, what would you describe to be your average anxiety level on a scale from 1 to 5. So 1 to 10 may be a little bit better because, again, you can always combine things together, but you can split them apart further. So, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, right now, this question as is isn't a good question because it doesn't say whether or not 1 is low anxiety or is high anxiety. So I would say on a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 equals no anxiety and 5 equals high anxiety. So this way the person knows, okay, all right, well, let's say, this person has medium anxiety. Well, they'd pick like a 3. So I actually recommend adding more questions than just, the 2 that you want to know from because, like I said, people don't like to be, so I accidentally added an extra option instead of a new question. So these X's on the side here will enable you to get rid of anything that you don't want. So I would add a question and say, how old are you? So we'll have this be a short answer because then they can just type in, whatever their age is. Maybe add in another question. How many hours per week do you spend playing violent video games? So, whatever your options are, 0 to 4, 5 to 9. So these cannot overlap. That's really important. And then 10 plus, let's say. So we'll classify these as occasionally, and then maybe these are the frequent players. And so maybe if you wanted to ask another question, what is your gender? So you can always ask, more information, but you can't go back and get extra information afterwards. So this is my survey. I think I'm happy with it. I would also want to know whether or not they consider themselves. Let's do that one too. Would you say that you consider yourself to struggle with anxiety? Okay, this is awkward wording here, but yes. We could do yes frequently. Yes occasionally. And then no, never. So that way, I would probably put this question somewhere up here. With that one up here. So the order in which that it comes should kind of make sense as well. Most of the time I don't see your surveys, I just see the results. So this would be the order that I would personally order these questions. So now once you're done with this, if you want to send this survey out, and you can make edits to this after people have taken it, but it's really important that you don't, because even something like wording can affect the results, even if it has, nothing to do with the person's response. So if you hit the send button, you have options to email it to people, which you can do, but I think it's easiest just to hit the link button. I would shorten the URL because the unshortened version has, it has Casper College on it, and that's really it, but I would shorten the URL. And so then here is your survey link, and then you can post this wherever on a Facebook group. You can post it on your personal Facebook, on some kind of forum on the internet. So I wouldn't check this box because, there's no reason not to keep this anonymous. So then when a person goes and takes the survey, so they're going to see this on their Facebook, they'll paste it or click on the link to get it to their browser. So let's see. I'm just going to take this really fast, I'm being honest. Yeah, that's probably the answer to that. So, and then they can submit another response, which you know, if they have someone sitting next to them, maybe they're going to have them take it too. Although in general, I honestly wish that it didn't ask that, because then somebody that's really bored can maybe take it a few times. I don't think that will probably happen, but you know, the link is tempting. So then when you go to your results, your responses are now tabulated. So here's 100% were female. So these are my responses, and right now they're gonna be 100%. So let me take this again. And then I'm going to take it one more time just so we can see what this will look like. So no, never, we would actually count as a 0. So, all right, so now when you go back, your individual responses are shown. You can turn your survey on and off if you're done. Maybe you don't want, you want this summary stuff to stay the same because you're done, you're about to do your project. Make sure you turn this off, because if not, more data will come in. So we have 2/3 male, 1/3 female, and these graphs look pretty good. I would say that these are probably good enough to screenshot and print out. Why not? So how would you describe your anxiety level? So they have a pie chart for each of these, but that doesn't necessarily mean that a pie chart is going to be the graph that you want to make for your project. It's just summarizing your responses. So you can also look at individual responses. Depending on your project, it is pretty likely that you might have to do this. But in general, I find it really, really easy to get to. You need to be logged into your Casper College, because if you click out of this and you want to go back, so let's say I want to Google Forms. When you log back into your account, when you go to your Google Forms, your surveys will all be here. So in general, I just make untitled forms to show people how to do this, but you know, and here is going to be where it's saved. So if you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, but you do not have to use Google Forms to do your project. If you want to collect your results manually or do, like a printout, that's okay. If I were to do mine on campus, I would actually just give them a survey with maybe on an iPad or something, if you have one of those or some other kind of tablet. So that way you don't need to input anything manually. But if you do some by paper, you'll have to put them in to the survey or compile the two together. It honestly will probably be easy to put them into your own survey. So you don't have to use Google Forms, but I definitely recommend it because it's free. You already have a Gmail account, and I think it is very user-friendly.